This week I was going to review Baldur's Gate 3. I'm really hyped for this game. I was so hyped for this game, I bought it the day before it came out and downloaded the huge 90GB install in anticipation for the release at 1 AM, and I was going to stay up all night to play this thing. But then I realised I'd have to uninstall it, and then reinstall the now 120GB game overnight while I slept. When I woke up the next morning, I saw I had an email saying I was invited to the Palia closed beta. Now, I had a tough choice to make. What do I review this week? I mean, the obvious choice is Baldur's Gate. It's what I was going to go with until I realised that it was going to take 80 to 90 hours to complete a single playthrough. And don't get me wrong, I am loving this game so far, but if I want to review it correctly, I want to take the time and do it right, if I review it at all. I want to give it the go it deserves and at least get one playthrough out of the way before giving it a full review. So I decided to go with the hard choice, and I decided to go with the Palia beta. Now, as always, before I get into games that aren't in full release, I like to put a disclaimer that this game is not yet finished and many things could change between now when this video releases and the full release of the game. I will be keeping tabs on this game as it goes on and develops, and I'll probably do a follow-up video if it warrants it. So what is Palia? Palia has been described as an MMO/farming sim game, and that probably wouldn't be entirely accurate, at least at the moment. The best way to describe Palia is Stardew Valley, but the town has other real players running around and gathering resources. Now, when I see a new farming/life sim game show up, I usually don't pay much attention to it. I feel like I've already played the best one, and I've played a handful of other ones, but they just don't live up to Stardew Valley. So if it doesn't have some kind of neat hook attached to the game, then I'm not really interested. So obviously the MMO/community element of this game got me interested, and I signed up way back when Palia was announced, and I've been keeping an eye on development for quite a while. So now that I've finally got my hands on it and got to try it, what do I think? It's alright, but it's a little disappointing. The biggest disappointment has to be the multiplayer aspect of the game. I was really expecting it to be a little more community focused. You know, things like hangout areas or group activities and mini games. Things to help put focus on the fact that there are other people walking around doing stuff. But the only thing that requires any community focus or cooperation with other players is flow-attuned resources, which require multiple people to be able to gather. But before I go any further, I think I should probably explain what the game is and how everything works. When I go into games, I try and keep myself blind, and especially with this one, I don't like to do deep dives on how it all works, just so I can go in with, as fresh of eyes as possible. So Palia starts off with a character creator. It's fine, it's nothing special really. Your character materializes out of nowhere, and this is where the story begins. You're a human, and supposedly our race was extinct for a while there, but humans have been showing up around the place all of a sudden. We meet the people in the town, get given some land so we can build a house on and farm, and a few tutorial quests to introduce all the skills, while also working towards finding out what's going on with the whole humans returning to Palia thing, and off we go. So let's start with the skills. Palia has 8 skills currently. Fishing is alright, the mechanics are fun enough, and you can catch different fish depending on what spot and time of the day. It's same as Stardew Valley really. Yeah, the minigame's alright. Foraging is just RuneScape woodcutting. And farming is pretty stock standard. You plant things, then water them as needed, and then you get produce. Mining is just, it's RuneScape mining. Hunting is you shoot things with your bow and arrow. Bug catching is similar to hunting, except you're throwing smoke bombs at insects instead, for some reason. Furniture making is exactly how it sounds. I don't want to say it's RuneScape construction, but it's a little bit like that now that I think about it. But I do like the progression of this skill. If you make a new recipe, then you are given a choice of another recipe to make, and then you unlock more recipes by making new and different things. And last up on the skills is cooking, which is cooking. But I think that the cooking might be the best of the lot. When you get up into the higher tiers of most skills, the skill tends to introduce a couple of more mechanics, and cooking probably does this the best out of all the skills. From adding things to a campfire and waiting for it to cook, to adding things to a stove and preparing other ingredients while the thing cooks, and if you fail it, it'll burn. I really like cooking. It's easily my favourite. To Palia's credit, all the skills have very good interactivity with each other. Like, you can't cook without fishing, hunting and farming, and you can't make better tools or equipment without mining or foraging. The only outlier to all the skills seems to be bug catching. I have not figured out what that's good for yet. I did find an NPC that teased potion making, so maybe bug catching is meant to go with potion making, but that isn't in the game yet, I think. So Cooking, farming, and furniture making are all done exclusively on your home plot, and while we're here, I'd like to mention that the customizability of your home is actually pretty versatile and intuitive. Although building your first house and new rooms on your house and this windmill, for some reason will take you 8 hours to make. And in most games, you probably like, especially mobile games, these mechanics are added in and then there'll be like a pay to skip option. But no, this is just a legitimate waiting period here, and I'm not sure what the reasoning for this is, seeing as extra rooms already take like a lot of money and resources to make in the first place. It's a little strange. The next big disappointment comes with furniture interactivity. You can't sit on chairs or lay on your bed or really anything if it doesn't have something to do with crafting. It's pretty much just for decoration, which is a big bummer. I was kind of expecting something a bit more there. The world outside our home is also a little bit of a disappointment as well. There are currently 2 open world zones and they're not great. The first zone has the town and townsfolk, which, you know, if you play Stardew Valley, they all have relationship levels and quests that you can unlock. Some are romanceable. I haven't got that far to romance characters because the progression is a bit slow, but I imagine that's on purpose. Outside of the town is a bit more of an open world kind of area where your base level resources are scattered about. And it's fine for a first zone. The second zone, though, is pretty unfinished. Or it feels unfinished anyway. While I was exploring it for the first time, I just found it underwhelming. There are 3 NPCs in this map and just a whole lot of resources to farm, but the environment isn't exciting and it doesn't feel all that much different. It feels just like maybe a little bit darker and it's a pain in the ass to get to. I think that might just be the biggest problem with the map and environment overall. It doesn't look bad, but it just kind of feels bland and empty. There's just a lot of things with nothing in it, or it feels like there's nothing in it. There's a lot of fields with just copy-pasted resources all over the show. It feels a little bit samey. And I was hoping the resources in this game would be a little bit more dynamic with their spawns or something, but as far as I can tell, it's all static, with the exception of some of the resources are flow attuned, which is random, and you do have to search for that kind of stuff. That's rare. So I can imagine like in the future, people are just going to have like farming paths. There's probably going to be maps. I reckon by the time this video is out, there's probably going to be an interactive map or something that shows you where every spawn is. While I was exploring the second map, there's a lot of little things around the place that feel like there's meant to be content here, but it isn't here yet. And once again, this game is unfinished, so there may be content there, or maybe I haven't unlocked the content, but it isn't made clear to you I'm meant to be here. This is part of a quest that I'm not supposed to be able to get into, or I don't know, but it is just strange. Overall, I don't think Palia is a bad game, but it's mostly just feels featureless. Like, you can have communities in the game, but the only benefits from them is the ability to fulfill requests for other players in your community, which you can already do if you're friends with them, or you can do if people are in the same server as you. So it doesn't feel like that much of a benefit to be in a community unless you just want to chat with some players. And it took me a few tries to get into a community that actually felt like chatting. They seem really nice. There's nothing else to communities apart from that, and I was kind of hoping for some progression system here, but I guess it's forthcoming. There's a lot of stuff to do in Palia, but overall it just doesn't feel varied enough. The best thing this game has going for it is that it's really chill. There's not really any stakes to anything, and I just feel like I can turn my brain off when I play this game. Like, watch some TV, you know, write scripts for my videos, and just play the game while I'm doing that. And I like games where I can do stuff like this and I don't have to concentrate too hard. You know, things like RuneScape or Stardew, which I've already mentioned before. It's just a little strange to me that there isn't much service in this live service game. But to give credit, the developers do seem to be very receptive to their community in their Discord and their ideas, and seems like that they're taking ideas on board and they're going to work on it. And it is super refreshing to see a free-to-play game that isn't trying to shove microtransactions into my face every chance it gets. With this game being free-to-play, of course, there's microtransactions. The microtransactions are cosmetic costumes only, and the prices are I'd say they're fair, I guess, considering that fact that it is only cosmetic. I hope that only extends to the costumes though, and nothing else. Mostly because I feel like a lot of this game is trying to build up a really nice house, and there's a lot of work that goes into it, and there's customizable options that go with that to make your house look better. It feels like everything else that you're doing would be for nothing if you can just pay to have something that looks better. It would be nice though to have some free-to-play options for clothing as well. It seems like that could be something that you could easily plug into the game. Not sure if there is already or not, but it doesn't look like it based on how far into the game I've gotten. I think if the developers work on adding more depth and quality to the world of Palia, and work on adding more community focus to the game, I think this game could really skyrocket as a community-based MMO. There is a really solid foundation to work off of here, and an okay chill game to play. It doesn't really do anything better than any other farming/life sim, but it does it well, and moving forward, I think there is potential for something special here. The MMO or other multiplayer elements of this game are almost non-existent. That was the part I was most excited for. They just really need to lean into that kind of stuff. Board games, events, things to do with other players. As I said before, I really like the construction aspect, and I feel like the customizability in this game is very good, especially when it comes to your home plot, and I feel like in the future we'll be seeing a lot of neat creations, and I'm looking forward to that. But if you are into farming sim games, I would say give this a shot. Palia will be opening its doors to everyone as an open beta starting on August 10th, and if you think Palia has piqued your interest, please sign up using the link below with my refer a friend link, so I can get some cool cosmetics. Thank you so much for watching this review. If you liked the video, please give it a like, and if you're new, please consider subscribing. Have you played Palia yet? If you have, what do you think? Please let me know in the comments if you think that I'm right or wrong, or what you'd like to see in this game going forward. Anyway, I'm off to go play Baldur's Gate like everyone else in the world seems to be doing, and I will see you all next time.